If you are watching this, we are pregnant. We're having a baby. Welcome to my channel. My name is Lacey Alanna, and here I talk about family, lifestyle, and faith. I'm so excited to make this video today because if you are watching this, then you know, and if you also follow on Instagram, then you know that we are having a baby. This is going to be my first pregnancy update. At the time that I'm making this video, I am 11 weeks and 3 days pregnant, and I can't even believe I'm saying that. So wild. And I'm just going to talk about today questions that I've been asked and just like how we found out, how I told my husband, and what pregnancy has been like so far. So if you are interested in just knowing about how like the first trimester has gone for me so far, then please stay tuned. So I have all of my notes here. I've been taking like crazy notes over the past few weeks of all of my symptoms. And let me just say, first and foremost, we found out at 4 weeks, and literally since 4 weeks, I prayed every day that everything would go well. I know that so many women have miscarriages, and miscarriages are very common in the first trimester, and so of course that's why we waited to tell people. But I have never prayed so hard, y'all, for anything in my life than I have prayed for everything to go well and for our baby to grow like he or she is supposed to. Let's just get right into the video. So we found out at 4 weeks, and I'm gonna just answer some common questions that people had. So the first one is, how did you find out you were pregnant? I want to say maybe 8 or 9 days post ovulation, if you follow like ovulation trackers, 8 or 9 days after what I thought would have been my ovulation day, I had like a superhuman sense of smell. I was walking by the kitchen and I could smell vinegar from like a mile away. I had a super strong sense of smell, and I could smell things from the other room. And so my husband's like, yeah, do you think you're pregnant? So that was kind of the first sign, or the first thing that made me think like maybe I should take a test soon. So y'all, honestly, I didn't anticipate how hard it would be to make this video because I am so out of breath, which is like one of my pregnancy symptoms, just like constantly being out of breath. And if I get really excited about a conversation, I'm out of breath. So just excuse me if I'm like taking deep breath. The next question I got is, how did you tell your husband? So I actually, and I'm going to go back to like how I found out. So I was about to shower. It was like a Sunday night. I had a couple of pregnancy tests because I knew that like we got married in October and we conceived in November, and I knew like we weren't trying to have a baby, but we weren't like not trying to have a baby, if you know what I mean. So I had some pregnancy tests on hand. And because of the like strong sense of smell and like a little bit of like very light grade nausea, so I went ahead and took a test without even telling him, and I was about to get in the shower, and literally the test, like within a few minutes of taking it, it was already starting to say positive. And I was like, I'm just gonna give it 3 minutes. I'm gonna hop in the shower, hop out, and then I'll look again. And when I got out of the shower, it was like definitely a strong positive. Um, so at that time, I did not tell my husband. I went to Target and bought some cute little baby onesies, and a gift box and a card. So I wrote him like a really nice card, and I put the onesies and the test in a box and brought it back like a couple hours later. It was so hard for me to just keep it in that few hours, like a secret, and to myself. um, and when he opened it, his response was, "What is this?" But first, like crazy shock, and then eventually, a few minutes later, like excitement. So we were both very excited about it. A lot of people have been asking about gender. As far as gender, we have chosen to get a private ultrasound at 13 weeks. So we do not know the gender at this point, but we will in about a week and a half. So I'm gonna go ahead and talk about like some of the earliest pregnancy symptoms that I had. So um, the first symptom was like a very low grade nausea, even from like finding out at exactly at 4 weeks. And I think we actually found out a couple days before 4 weeks. And the reason is because I ovulated a little bit earlier than what I thought. So instead of day 14, I think I ovulated on like day 12. Um, but starting week 4, I was having frequent urination. I was having nausea, like very low grade nausea, and I was having increased hunger. So let me tell you guys, I am not a breakfast type of girl. I usually wake up and not purposely, I fast until about 11 o'clock when I eat lunch. So I normally do not eat breakfast. I might have like a piece of fruit or something, but I'm normally not a breakfast person. Um, Being pregnant, that has changed like completely. Let's be honest, I just had to take a break to make a hot pocket. So some of my early symptoms, obviously we talked about low grade nausea. I was already like peeing more frequently. So that was like a really early symptom for me. Being more hungry was an early symptom for me, and like eating breakfast. I started to get really, really tired. I started to have headaches, and I also started to have lightning crotch, which people don't talk about this until usually like later in pregnancy. Lightning crotch is basically like sharp pains in your like nether region. So sharp pains that just come randomly, especially when I get up from a seated position really fast. I would have these lightning crotch pains. That only lasted for like a week and a half to 2 weeks, and then it went away. From what I've read, it seems like it is from like the stretching, I guess. And all the growth that is going on down there, and it's a lot of growth pretty fast. So yeah, the lightning crotch was not my favorite. Right from the beginning, I had like excessive bloating. Like I'm talking, I looked 6 months pregnant. And for a minute, I was like, wow, like I'm really getting a baby bump. It was not a baby bump. It was gas. So, and quickly I realized that like the gas was out of control, like out of control, excessive gas and bloating in the beginning. This is all prior to like week 7 or 8. I noticed that my boobs were really sore. Like, I'm talking sore like into the armpits. But a lot of the early symptoms of pregnancy, like so many people say in their pregnancy updates, they look a lot like early, like PMS period symptoms. So once I like missed my period, I knew that it wasn't coming. But a lot of the symptoms are very similar to that in the beginning. So those were like my early pregnancy symptoms. But I want to talk more about my pregnancy symptoms from week 8 to week 11. From week 8 to week 11, I started to have like symptoms that were a little bit different. I started to have a little bit more heartburn, and the nausea really increased. Now, I know all women are different, but for me, the nausea was like from sun up to sundown, all day long, sun up to sundown. I started to wake up more frequently to go pee because I was going to pee like 3 times in the middle of the night, and I would have trouble falling back asleep because I was like nauseous. In the beginning of pregnancy, when I would eat a meal, the nausea would kind of subside, but after week 8, it was like I could eat and I would still be nauseous. Baby didn't care about me eating anymore. I think the hormones were just like rising, and I was more nauseous at that point all day long. All day long. The bloating got worse. So I thought I was looking like 6 months pregnant in the beginning from the bloating, but when I tell you after week 8, it was just bloat for like 8 or 9 weeks straight. I was looking real pregnant. Even in my clothes, like just looking real round. And again, that is bloating. That was not a baby bump that early. Week 8, I also started to have night nausea, extreme hunger. So like I'd be laying in bed and I'd have to go eat a bowl of cereal, go eat leftovers from dinner, like keep snacking, and it was like insatiable hunger at night. And I was also having aversion to foods with strong smells. So like garlic, the smell of garlic was just making me more nauseous. My husband likes to cook with rice vinegar. That was making me extremely nauseous as well. So I started to really have a strong aversion to foods with strong smells. And really, I just wanted anything that was unhealthy. So I didn't really have any cravings, but I was just eating like anything unhealthy. I already loved Chick-fil-A before I was pregnant, but after I got pregnant, like Chick-fil-A every day.
I'm eating a Hot Pocket mid-video. I know that these are unhealthy. You guys do not have to tell me that, but they are so.
So let's talk about weeks 8 to 11 and body changes. One major thing that I noticed was that my boobs and stomach were like extremely itchy. I mean, obviously from the amount of growth, but I was itching like pretty bad. I am not one to put lotion on when I get out of the shower. Call me what you want to call me. I don't use lotion out of the shower. I'm allergic to most lotions. I can use like coconut oil and shea butter that are unscented, but I am allergic to most things, so I just don't use it. And now being pregnant, like with everything stretching, I've had to use coconut oil consistently to keep from like itching so crazy and from having my skin like feel so tight. So definitely have had to use some coconut oil in this first trimester to help with the tightness and the itching. I definitely also had like a tight feeling around my belly button. So I've never had like washboard abs. I'm not a person who works out. I do not work out. So I wasn't like in athletic shape, but I've definitely always had a pretty flat stomach. So there's not a lot of space in there. And because of all the expansion, my skin is just already like tight. And so I've been having like pains, like sharp pains around my belly button. And it's not like painful, it's more like uncomfortable, but it's just like everything is stretching and growing down there. And then as far as like general discomfort, I already have pretty bad allergies. I have been extremely congested and stuffy, especially if I don't take my allergy medicine. So I have to be really religious about taking it now. It started from like pretty much week 8. More recently, like as we're moving into the second trimester, like week 12, I've had a little bit of back pain, a little bit of hip pain. I would attribute that to the pregnancy because I had that under control before. I know I talked about with my autoimmune disease that I do have occasional hip pain, but I have pretty much alleviated that with the medications I was taking. So I'm pretty sure that being pregnant has just caused a little bit of pain down there, especially because none of my pants fit anymore. My hips are just expanding, and that comes with a little bit of discomfort. So let's talk about my appointments that I've had so far and like my general health with all of the pre-existing conditions that I had before I got pregnant. So as far as appointments, the OB that I chose that particular OB because of their affiliation with a particular hospital that has a NICU and that also has specialists who have experience with the conditions that I have. That OB would not see me until 8 weeks. So that is like the hardest thing, to go from 3 weeks and change to 8 weeks without even seeing like what is going on with the baby. It's almost like pregnancy is in your imagination until you go and like get that pregnancy confirmed at your first appointment. The first appointment was adorable. My husband could not go with me because of COVID-19. They only allow the patient to come in, which was a bummer, but we did do FaceTime. So that was pretty cool. And he got to see the ultrasound on FaceTime as well. And he like took the afternoon off to take me to the appointment. The first ultrasound was vaginal. I, before getting pregnant, did not know that the first ultrasound is vaginal and that, they use a probe. I always saw on TV they, put some jelly on and like roll around on the outside of your stomach to see the baby. In reality, that first ultrasound is not like that. So that was a surprise to me, but I got to see the little bean. It was moving around, like moving its arms and legs, and the baby was measuring 8 weeks and 6 days. So the baby was measuring a whole week ahead. So that was also a surprise to me, but that was great news, and it kind of shortened up our time a little bit to get to that 12-week mark. I talked to my doctor about all of my health conditions, and prior to getting pregnant, I had also seen a maternal fetal medicine specialist to talk about my health conditions and to kind of plan for future pregnancy. And that was literally like a week before we got pregnant. So conveniently, I already knew kind of like what to expect going in and what kind of tips and monitoring she was going to recommend. At my next appointment, it was the 11-week appointment, and the reason that I went back only 3 weeks later is because I now have a specialist who I'm going to be seeing, and so they kind of wanted to coordinate the dates in a certain way. So I just saw the doctor at 11 weeks. I got to talk to the doctor, ask more questions. At that time, they did a blood test to see like what my blood type is, and probably some other tests that I don't know what they are. They also did a urine test, and the baby was measuring 5 days ahead again. I mean, I just think at this point, this is going to be a big baby, probably. because the little bean is consistently measuring ahead of schedule. And that was also the appointment where me and my husband decided to go ahead and tell people about the pregnancy because things were going so well and because the baby was measuring consistently ahead, which is a great sign. So the last thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to show you guys what my bump looks like right now. I am like a little bit bloated. It would be more accurate if I recorded this video early in the morning, but I'll show you guys what I'm looking like so far. Thank you all so much for watching. If you want to see more pregnancy updates, if you want to see more stuff about my life and my family, please subscribe to my channel. If you want to see more videos like this video, comment, and don't forget to follow me on Instagram. I update that more, and you can see my baby's gender in about 2 weeks. And thank you guys so much for watching. Bye.